This is Woolamai Beach on Phillip Island, one of the most popular spots for surfing within easy reach of the city of Melbourne. My name is Charles Nancaro, and I'm the Wildlife Management Officer for the Fisheries and Wildlife Division on Phillip Island. Unfortunately, some of the people who come here to enjoy the beach are quite unknowingly destroying it. It has been seriously eroded by people making their way down through the dunes. It's a classic example of the effects of recreational activities and the way they can lead us to destroy the very things we value so highly. Phillip Island is situated in Western Port on the Victorian coast. There are two main islands in Western Port, Phillip Island with an area of about 10,000 hectares and French Island of some 17,000 hectares. There are also a number of smaller islands. This is Churchill Island, which is a good place to start looking at the islands in Western Port. Here we can still see the simple beauty of the farming communities that developed in the 19th century. They were able to achieve a reasonable balance between the living requirements of the settlers and the natural world. Churchill Island is owned by the Victoria Conservation Trust. It is like a time capsule, preserving the character of the early settlement of this region. Churchill Island still supports considerable populations of pelicans, ibis and other birds, which feed on the tidal mudflats. Some of this rural atmosphere still exists on Phillip Island, a tranquil and visually pleasing environment. But agriculture is now a minor activity on Phillip Island. In the 1870s, a ferry service was established and tourism became a dominant force in the economy and land use of the island. For most of the year, the island is a pretty sleepy sort of place with only 3,000 permanent residents. But in the holiday season, the population can jump to as many as 100,000 people. One bone of contention is that the cost of providing facilities and cleaning up after the visitors must be borne by local ratepayers. This beach is a nightly venue for one of Australia's largest tourist attractions, the Parade of the Fairy Penguins. They breed in the dunes from November until March and come ashore at dusk laden with fish to feed their young. They draw 500,000 visitors a year, including many from overseas. It's a great sight, but what bothers me is that the penguins used to come ashore at many points along the coast. Now, residential and recreational pressures have restricted them to a much smaller area. Another popular spot for tourists is the rocky coastline at the Nobbies. From here you can observe the seals and the rocks just offshore. The bulls arrive in early November to stake out their territorial claims in preparation for the arrival of the cows in mating and breeding. In the 19th century, the seals were ruthlessly slaughtered for their fur and oil. By the 1870s, there were only about 20 left. After a century of protection, there is now an adult seal population of 5,000, and 2,000 pups are born every year. Koalas are important, not only as a tourist attraction, but also as a reserve from which we have been able to repopulate other parts of Victoria. That's a good male up there anyway, careful.
We've got another one up there too.
Female, is it? Small enough.
Yeah, it's a female.
Yeah. Oh.
Nice and low to the ground too.
Yeah, that's a good one, that one.
Maybe in the cradle somewhere.
Oh, no worries.
Are you sure?
The capture of koalas causes them only a short period of discomfort, and it is a necessary part of the research we must carry out.
That's the claws.
He's a good young male, isn't he?
Yeah, he's helping.
Help him.
Helps on his claws.
What colour is he tag? Better ride him down. He's a good male, isn't he?
Numbers on the inside. Blue 217.
Just check that other area too, Mike. See if there's any tear in it where it might have been ripped. Nowadays, wildlife is threatened not so much by deliberate hunting and trapping as by the modification or destruction of habitats caused by various kinds of human development. In the past, much of the development on Phillip Island and elsewhere was without concern for the landscape. The island's economy depends on tourism, but some people have argued for controls to limit the number of visitors, especially in peak periods, in order to protect the environment. Suggestions to control the impact of visitors by charging a toll on the bridge which connects the island to the mainland have not been taken up. Almost all the land on Phillip Island is in private hands. Rural land is being subdivided and put up for sale. There have been absolute catastrophes where housing estates have been built on muttonbird rookeries, killing thousands of birds and destroying their rookeries forever.